This is a video to take you through the pink menu to show you those features that are included in the core system. The ones that you can see that don't have numbers, those are the ones that are included in the core system. Now, to show you these effectively, what I should do first is to show you the multi-entry by age range. If you open this one and then open this button again, it will bring you up a blank form next to it. Now what you do is, as you feel the child is able to do some of the criteria statements, you select them and it will put them over in this box. Once it's in the second box, that's going to be selected as they've met. So you go through the different criteria statements and select the ones that you feel the child is currently secure and able to do. Once you've gone through the different statements and have all the ones that you feel that they can do, you press save and close, save and close. If you go into the criteria met button, this will show you all of the criteria that you have selected that the child can now meet. So they are all listed in there. If you open up the criteria not selected, this will show you the criteria that they have yet to meet. So this is what I use to inform me of the next steps that I'm going to choose. If I now draw your attention to this left hand side, which is the next steps with focus, if I select a new one, I can then open up the not selected, and what I tend to do for this is to make this screen smaller so that you can have both of these alongside each other. Now what I will do is I will look through the criteria that have not been selected. So these are criteria that I don't feel that the child is secure in doing yet, and I will pick one. So for this one, 22 to 36 within physical development can kick a large ball. So within the next steps with focus, I will go down to 22 to 36, physical development, and press the blue button and locate can kick a large ball. Now you will see if I tick this button, it has sent it over there. If you click your mouse in the date set, it will put today's date. Now it's important that every criteria that you put as a focus, you must put the date that it's set in order for it to stay in this focus. If you then click new, and then you can go and choose a different one. So I'll do 22 to 36 within literacy, repeats words or phrases from familiar stories. So again, I find it on here, in literacy, and then I can find it there. And again, once you click this one, it's sent over, and click to do the date. Once you have chosen the amount of criteria that you want to have as focus next steps, now this is just an example, but you can see down here that there's 9 because I've put 9 in there previously. So this one has covered the multi-area by age range. You can also do specifically if you feel that there's a lot of criteria that they're meeting ahead of their age, perhaps in say mathematics. You can go straight to mathematics with this one and do the same thing to track them. The criteria met shows all of them. The not selected is an easy way to see what's outstanding to pick your next steps. This button that says with focus shows you in a list form all of the criteria that you have selected as a next step. So within there you can see the 2 that I've just put in. Can kick a large ball and repeats words or phrases from familiar stories. You can also send home some criteria, which helps working with parents. So again, if you pick up the not met, you can see that within 22 to 36 there are still quite a lot of criteria that this child hasn't met. So it might be an idea to select 22 space 36, and this will list those criteria that the child hadn't met or you haven't observed them doing in your setting. So with this you can print this out and send this home to parents, and they are able to tick if they've seen their child do this at home, as well as add some comments as to where or when or how they've seen it at home. This can then go in your file, and it gives you the input from the parents that you can plan accordingly to try and see the child do this in your setting. The pink button, the Learning Journal, if I open this to show you, this brings in all of the criteria that you have selected as the focus, so it all links together. So what you can do here is to tick through, and this has all of your 10 focus steps. So here is the one that I put in for literacy. We picked words or phrases from familiar stories. Now, as you feel that the child is making progress to meeting this, you can track their progress on this form. You can enter photos, and you can make additional comments. You can even date the different comments. I'll show you one that I've done. So for this one example, you can see that they've made progress on this. And then once you feel that they've met, you can enter the date in here. You can use the additional criteria button. This one will bring up all the criteria that they have not yet met. So if you feel that whilst observing them to see whether they can say some counting words randomly, you can go through to mathematics and say reciting some number names in sequence. And that can then be put down here. So you can link in more statements with each observation that you do. Within this form there is also an alternative form that you can use, which is the next step. Within this one it gives you the option to add a bit more detail. So this one would be instead of using this one. So this one draws in information that you have added in this section and in this form. And it gives you the option to add in more information. So with the criteria with focus, this will bring in all of the 10 criteria that you have selected as focus. Additional with focus, this brings in all the information that you have put down here, selected as additional. This also gives the option to add in your own next focus. Now these might be the baby steps in between the criteria, or just before they're meeting the criteria. There's some additional things that don't mention specifically within the criteria statement within the early years outcome. This gives you more information to put in with the activity description and observations that you made, as well as further next steps which are in your own words, not copying a statement from the criteria in the early years outcomes. Within this you are still able to put your pictures, which again feed through from the main form. And when printed, you'll see it's a really nice observation that you've got. So this one just gives you a few options of how to do your formal observations. This one also shows the front page, so you've got a front cover for your learning journals, which also show the parents the 7 areas of the curriculum. As you're going, you can go through these and track the progress of others. When you feel that the child has met it, if you put a tick in this box, you can print it, or print to save as PDF. Once the child has met it and you archive it, it will be taken away from this. So now that one's gone, and that number of criteria has now been selected as met. You are able to view all of the criteria that you've selected in this one, current learning objectives. So these are all the ones that you currently have active. These are all the criteria that you currently have active. Some childminders actually use this as their planning, because you can see at a glance which criteria the children have as next steps. you can see which ones you've made observations on already, and you can inform your planning as to what activities you are going to have available to see if it can help encourage development in these areas. The current learning objectives, all children, shows those criteria for all of the children in your setting who you've selected next steps for. In this one, I've only done this for Sam, but it would list them, so it would go on to show the other children's next steps in your setting. The archive journals, these are the ones that, as I showed you before, once you click that it's met, it will archive it. It will go in here. So you can still see the observations that you've done. That was the one that I archived. Say some counting words randomly. So you can see in there that you've done it. If you accidentally archived it, the way to get it out would be this button, All Met. If you take a note of the number, it's 137. So if you go to All Met and scroll down until you get to criteria statement number 137. And if you remove this tick here, and if we save, update it, and go back into there, it's back in there. And you can see it's now out of the archive section, which means you can add some more information to it and then archive it again. I will do more videos to show you the additional features that you are able to purchase to support your assessment and planning.